Good morning, students. Yesterday we discussed about the agricultural practices, and three of the agricultural practices we discussed yesterday, and the fourth we will discuss today. All living beings needs water to live. Water is very important for proper growth and development, and the water will be absorbed by the roots of the plants. Okay. Along with water, minerals and fertilizers are also absorbed. Plant contains nearly 90% of the water. Okay. So water will be very much essential for the germination of seeds. In dry conditions, seeds cannot germinate, and we cannot expect a very good production of crops. So water is very much essential for all. Water is very much essential for all, and it will not be possible for us to grow very good quality of crops. So, to maintain the moisture in the soil for the healthy crop growths, field have to be watered regularly. And the process of supply of water at regular interval is called irrigation. पानी देना, खेतों में पानी देते हैं, पौधों को पानी देते हैं, is called irrigation. Okay, and the time and the frequency of irrigation will depend upon or vary from crop to crop. It can be needed in high quantity for one type of crop and lesser type of water for other type of crop, as well as soil to soil and season to season. We all know in summer the frequency of water for the crops is higher because water got evaporated from the soil and the leaves. Okay, so there are main two types of method for irrigation. One of them is traditional method, as well as others are modern methods. And we also need to know about the various sources of irrigation. Sources of irrigations are wells, tube wells, ponds, lakes, rivers, dams, and canals. Okay, so the supply of water can be done by these sources, and now we will study about the methods of irrigation. As I discussed a moment ago, traditional method of irrigation as well as the modern method of irrigations. Okay, in traditional methods, we used the ways like moat, pulley system, okay, chain system, other is Dekli, and other is Rahat system. Dekli or Rahat are earlier used, as well as Rahat means lever system. Okay, so these were some old or outdated method of irrigation, and these days we use the modern method of irrigations are, one of them is sprinkler method. Sprinkler method is beneficial especially at the places where the where the supply of the water is lesser. Okay, and other method is drip irrigation. In this method or system, water falls drop by drop directly near the roots, not spreading in the whole field. It is placed directly in the roots of the plants. That is why it is called drip system. Okay, and as I told you, it proves a boom, especially in a region where the availability of water is lesser. Okay, so we all know the water is very precious resource, and we need to use water in a very careful manner. Okay, so we studied about the method of irrigation in detail, and our next technique is protection of crop from weeds. What is weeds? Weeds are the unwanted or undesirable plants growing along the main crops. Okay, so the process of removal of weeds is called weeding. As you also seen in your park, in your field, some undesirable or unwanted plants growth with the main type of crops. Those should be removed. Why? Because they will take all the nutrients, water, space as well as light from the main crop. Okay, so we need to use some weedicides for removing the weeds from the main crop, and these weedicides will be used by farmers. What is weedicides? Weedicides are chemicals used to remove the weeds. Okay, and these chemicals are sprayed by the farmers. These chemicals are sprayed by the farmers in the form of spray over the weedicides, and as we all know, they are chemicals and they are very much poisonous. So farmer should be very careful in using these. And how they can protect themselves? They can cover their nose and mouth with a piece of cloth during the spraying of these chemicals or weedicides over the crop. Okay, so we studied two processes of agricultural practices today. One of them was irrigation, other is protection from weeds. Okay, so you need to write about both the processes in your notebook. Okay, thank you, have a good day.